Hi, I'm Mark Cleghorn and welcome to Photo Training for You, and welcome back to my series where I'm using the Elinchrom D-Lite RX One kit. Now, whether you've invested into the softbox kit or the umbrella kit, you'll already know the amazing kind of photograph quality that you can get from a simple unit, allowing us to use the lower power to get even more creative using Studio Flash. Now, if you're looking to move your creative photography to another level with Flash, you're going to want to invest into some accessories. And the great thing about the D-Lite RX One, it does take a whole range of the Elinchrom accessories as well. And in this film, we're going to be using some of them to really kind of move our photography to that other level. Now, let's not forget though, things like the umbrella kit that comes with the silver black reflective umbrella or the translucent umbrella, those alone are enough for us to really control and shape lighting, as you'll have seen in the other film. Even the softbox, where we use the outer diffusion layer or take that away to change and give us a different quality of light, that again will allow us to change the whole look within our photographs. But when we start to want to shape the light, to really control the light, we've got to make some investment. And investment is the great thing with any accessories, because even though perhaps over the years you might want to buy upwards in power to kind of move from the ones, the great thing is all your accessories are going to be able to follow you no matter what you're doing. Today in the film we're specifically going to be using the Deflector kit. The Deflector kit will allow me to change the softbox into more of a beauty light and also give me a completely different style of softboxing as well. We're going to be using a honeycomb on the reflector dish here. That will be used to not only be used in conjunction with one of the other accessories, of course, to act as a hair light or a background light and so on. We're going to be using some gels to actually give us a little bit of color. And we're also going to be using the Snoot with the addition of the honeycomb on the front here to once more control the shape and the power of the lighting. So the accessories will really allow you to dramatically change the style of photography. Let's not forget that we should always start with one light before two and two before three and so on. Otherwise, we'll find that light starts to contaminate each other and you start to lose the effect. One of the amazing things about the D-Lite range is the full, complete control that we have on our flash and on the modeling bulb as well. So it allows us to even use some of the continuous lighting as a part of our photograph if that's what we want to do. The ability then to be able to change the power of the light up and down from camera position. So this is the sky port that fits on top of the hot shoe of the camera, of course, and just from the adjusting the plus and minus here on the top will either adjust both of the lights together in power, or if I've set them into the different groups, it'll allow just one light to either be increased or decreased in power. So I've talked enough about the basics of it. I think we should get into the studio and just see how we can really change the basic photograph into a little bit more of a creative effect by just using some of the great accessories from Elinchrom. So when we start to talk about accessories, the first thing we've got to consider is what kit that we've bought in the first place. For instance, if we've invested into the umbrella kit, then of course we're going to be probably thinking about a softbox before anything else. If we've invested into the softbox kit, we may be looking at the likes of the umbrella or the likes of the honeycomb to really kind of change our kind of style of look. So it will depend on you as a photographer and how you want to kind of change it. So we're going to be using both, and really it's how you mix them all together to get the great photographs. So the first thing that we should do, I suppose, is use the softbox here as our key light and use the umbrella as our accent light or our hair light with it. Why? Well, probably if you've already got an umbrella kicking around the place, you can use that, especially if you've bought the softbox kit. So the investment into an umbrella is one that you're not going to regret. But the key thing is, let's not forget the sky port. The sky port is already an accessory and one that you get with the kits. And when you're starting to look at investing into accessories, even an extra sky port can really play its mark by just carrying it in your pocket or having it on the side to actually kind of trigger off your lights and so on. But the sky port by itself, if you're looking at a normal radio trigger, probably going to be spending the best part of £100, whereas the sky port is no way just a radio trigger. This is a controller of all the lights, of course. If you've watched some of the other films, you'll see how I'm able to up and down the power of the individual lights to get complete control. And that's what we need to do first, of course. Here we're going to use the umbrella. We'll use it in its full scatter, in other words, its main width. And then I'm going to measure that to give me a working aperture. Before I find out what aperture I need in the background, I need to find out what working aperture we're going to use. So let's say we're going to use f8. With the models going to be stood around about here, the meter towards the light, of course. We set this onto the group, and then we go to group 1, and only this light will then fire. And then gives us our reading. Of course, measuring from the face to get the control. And that's giving me F10, so I need to reduce down the amount of power. So just a few clicks down on the light itself will reduce down the power. It's got F8. I always measure it twice, just to make sure that I haven't moved the meter closer or further away from the subject's face. So that's our F8. So with F8 there, I know I need to reduce this down by 1 stop. So this background light, or the hair light, is going to be to F5.6. So that's the next thing I'm going to do. Just on to group 2. Meter it first, that gives me 7.1. 6 clicks first of all. So that meter to 5.6, we know our working aperture is 8. Set the aperture on camera to 8 and we'll bring in the model. Let's do the shot to begin with. So just with the arms crossed me. Let's do your arms crossed, that's lovely. Great businesswoman look there. So with the image shot, we've got a lovely kind of balance there, a separation. As you can see, we've got the accent coming down through the hair, but it is spilling onto the background there a little bit. Now, if you watch the other umbrella film, you saw that I do a quick technique where you push the shaft through the light a little bit more, and then you collapse down the umbrella itself. But we can use one of the accessories to much better effect. When we're looking to control the light onto the hair, onto the background, there's 2 real accessories we're probably going to be using more than anything else. One is the reflector dish with a honeycomb, which will allow a greater spread of the light across the scene. And the other one is a snoot. That also has a honeycomb attachment to the front. And both of these are traditionally used for separation, whether it is going to be for the hair or whether it is going to be for the background. Let's stay on the hair for a minute. I'm going to use the reflector dish. So first of all, taking off the one that comes with the umbrella kit, replacing that with the new reflector dish, turning the light around, and then of course now repositioning the light to do its job. Now let's not forget, because this is a directional light now, this has got to be greatly reduced in power to get back down to our working F5, 5.6, otherwise it's going to give us a real burnout on the subject. So once more, metering towards the light, back into group, back into 2, metering towards here. That's giving me F9, and of course here I really need to delete all the kind of the power from it, get it down as low as we can. That's giving me F4. I need to build that back up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's the 10 clicks on the remote. And that gives me straight away my 5.6. So again, we've got F8 on subject, 5.6 on the hair, and that is going to give us the real control of the lighting. Again, that's gorgeous. And you can see now how the subtlety of the spillage of the light just comes down the hair itself. That is our first point of separation. To change that again, if I want to just position this onto the background, now I'm going to have a gradient going from the middle and kind of allowing itself to kind of creep out. So not only can it be used for the hair, but we can also add an accent to the background itself by doing that. And that once more gives us this lovely kind of the radiation to give that 3-dimensional effect. That's the kind of the basic way. Let's look at the snoot as well. So traditionally, as I said, we'd be using the snoot for the hair light or to go onto the background. At the end of this session, though, I want to use the snoot to actually just light the face themselves to kind of give us a 3-dimensional effect. But let's pop it on for now. Could you stay in your position, please, so I can light you? Let's do the same thing again. Love is there. So as you can see from that image, once more, the snoot is allowing the control, in a very, very tight control, of the light spillage. And if I want to use this onto the background, you can already see, if you just step to the side, Sarah, just for a minute, you can see the shape that is really giving us. So I can completely control the lighting effect behind her. Just coming back into your position, please. And again, for me, just that little pose, that's gorgeous. And that's going to give us a lovely round kind of gradient effect. Let's move it up a gear, because we've been using the softbox the whole time. Let's not forget, the first point of using any accessory is manipulate the accessory that you have. And by that, I've just removed the outer diffuser, and that is already giving me a totally different light source, of course. Very, very dramatic. Let's move you right back to the background, please, if we can. That's great. That's a bit too close, you'll get cooked. Let's bring this up nice and high. It's using this more now in a beauty style, but we haven't diffused the light. So this is going to create very, very heavy shadows below the eye. As long as we are expecting that, we know how to fix that and so on. But I just want to show you the difference first. Let's give an elliptical kind of shape running across the background as well. Let's give a little bit of a down to up kind of position. Remember, because we're working so close to the background anyway, that the background is going to get some of the light in from the main light, from the key light here. So the first thing, metering once more, of course, back into my groups. Let's reduce that power again. 2, 3, 4, 5. Excellent. So we're back down to our working aperture. This point working quite in close with it. That's lovely. Turn the head this way, darling, a little bit. Up with the chin for me. Otherwise, we're going to give you black eyes. You don't want those. Turn the head this way a little bit more. That's great. Keep it. Excellent. So that's our first effect. But now we want to really change the look. And this is where we're going to start to use the deflectors. And the deflectors come as a kit. There's a translucent one. There's a silver, and there's also a gold in the set as well. And this will totally change the characteristic of the lighting. The translucent will stop some of the light hitting her directional, and then start to push out more of the light around the reflective surface of the softbox, instantly creating a softer light source though. But once more, we've got to go through that pain barrier of metering. But of course, the benefit in doing this, I'm not looking at the back of the camera to get my exposure at all. As soon as I fix on the sky port, I'm shooting. And that gives a very, very soft kind of look. Just raise that chin a little bit more for me. That's lovely, it's there. Brilliant. Next thing is, let's go even harsher. And this is going to use the silver reflector. And by using this type of deflector, this is going to get us as close to what we refer to as a beauty dish as we can. And I'm just spin this around for you to see. But what we've got going on here is the kind of raw flash around is being first, it hits the comb before it's then allowed to diffuse out. And because this is a very highly polished reflective surface here, we get more of a specular light. So it's a sharper light source, but it's giving us a different type and a different control with it. So let's do that one. I'm definitely going to lose some of the light source here a little bit. So once more, you guessed it, we're going to meter. Okay, let's go again. Let's go, just raise the chin just a little bit, darling. That's lovely. So as we can see from this shot, the different style of light in there, what we've got is lovely increased kind of shadows just below the cheek line. Will exaggerate the face shape and so on. It'll give us a beautiful kind of edge shadow around the chin as well to exaggerate the facial features once more. And again, just to soften this through, we could just add a little bit of a reflector below here to actually bounce some of the light up to be a little bit more complementary to most clients. So in this last technique, as promised, we're mixing two accessories together. We've got the softbox here with the deflector dish, the silver one in there to create that beauty kind of style of light in. And then what I've got is the snoot on the front here. Now the snoot is going to be my working aperture. That is giving me f8. The softbox lighting, that's measured to 6.3. But let's see the difference that each one does first of all. And then finally what we're going to do is add in the honeycomb. So initially let's just shoot with the softbox with the deflector dish. And then we can see the kind of the overall fill of the light and so on. Then we're going to see the effect of just the snoot itself, which is on my group 2. And you can see it really does control that light, and it throws quite a harsh shadow in the background. And then if I add on the honeycomb onto the front of the snoot, that's going to control the light spillage even more. So let's see that before we add the two lights together. And then let's shoot the full setup. So this is with the snoot and the honeycomb, and then with the softbox and the deflector dish. Serious for me? Go serious. Very good. Keep it. And again. Look straight just above the light for me. Excellent shot. Thank you very much. So I hope you can see how a few simple accessories made by Elinchrom to complement their one lights can really transform your flash photography. Now remember, the accessories, they're just not for the one light, they'll go through their full complement of their flash photography range. So it depends on what kind of style of photograph that you want to take, whether it's in the drama of Hollywood, the kind of the fashionista style of Vogue. It's really down to you as a photographer to put your stamp on it. So I'm Mark Cleghorn for Photo Training for You. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.